Let us call to order the September 26th meeting. First of all, we'd like to do a roll call, please.
Coleman,
Here.
Gonzalez,
Here.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Here.
Okay, thank you. If we could get an approval of the minutes from the August 22nd meeting.
So moved. Second.
Harmon, LaPointe. Roll call.
Coleman,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
Okay, if the staff would rise, we'd like to swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Case number 1 is for Contractors Licensing Board, case number 2023-4854. This is an appeal to citation number 2023-9703. The property address is 2920 Scottsville Road. The property owner is Wash Partners, LLC, and the respondent is True Grit Stephen Brasher, who is present in the audience. This is a citation fine for $500, and Officer Heather Causey will present the case.
Thank you. Okay. On 8/16/23, True Grit was found working at 2920 Scottsville Road. The violation number 6015 was issued and left with representatives on the site by our inspector, and the representatives were instructed to begin the application process no later than 8/17/23. The violation was for no insurance and no license. Excuse me. The contractor did not apply, did not call us, they did nothing. So on 9/11/23, the citation was issued and mailed to the address that was given and written on the violation. As of 9/21/23, we received an application and payment via mail, but the insurance that was provided on that day actually expired the very next day, so on 9/22. On 9/22/23, our administrative assistant mailed a missing item letter requesting current insurance. As to date, we have not received insurance. Thank you.
Would you raise your right arm and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. I'm here today basically to acknowledge that I was in the wrong, but I'm basically here today to say that wasn't my intention. I didn't realize I had to have a permit, and I realized I drug my feet on filling out the paperwork that they left with my employee. I just kind of pushed that to the back of the desk and kind of forgot about it. But I do have current insurance. I've got an email on my phone with proof that I have current insurance up to date. It's a $1 million liability policy, commercial policy.
Anybody have any questions for the respondent?
Heather, I just want to confirm, is what he's got now compliant with what you need?
The insurance I have on file, no, sir, it's not current. It expired on Friday the 22nd.
Okay, but it was active when I was doing the job. And it is active now. I can show you on my email. And I apologize again. This ain't how I want to do business. It ain't how I intend to do business. I understand I'm in the wrong.
So at the time that we found them working, they were not licensed, not insured, according to our office. And as to date, like I said, we still do not have current insurance. If we can get a copy of that, that would rectify that issue, and then he would just have the citation on our file.
Are you aware, was any work done while he was unlicensed and uninsured in your office?
Yes, so at 8/16, at that time, they were actually performing work on the job site, and there was not a license in our office.
I didn't realize I had to have a license in her office. I do have a business license in my hometown, but I ain't been in business that long, and I'm learning a lot of things the hard way, I guess.
Any other questions for the respondent?
Can I show this insurance, proof of insurance? It's up to date. I just got an email today. It's right here on my phone. Would you like to see that? It's a new email. She just sent it over today.
Okay. So we would actually need a copy of the certificate. I can give you my email address, and you can email this to me.
Okay.
And then whatever the board decides tonight on the citation, you would need to correct that if they decide.
Okay.
That's just one part, right? That's just one part of the violation, correct?
Yes.
Any other questions from the board?
I would like to add, I did have insurance when I was doing the work. She just didn't have proof that I had insurance. I want to make that perfectly clear. I've always had a commercial insurance policy ever since I've been in business.
But you didn't have a permit?
No, I didn't realize I had to have a permit.
And all the work he does, he's gonna need a permit, correct? Every job that he works on,
Well,
correct?
so ours is the actual license, and it's good for 1 year. So once he applies with us, has the insurance corrected, pays license fee, it's good for a whole year, as long as that insurance remains current.
So will he need a separate permit for each job, though?
Permits would be a completely different, with what he's doing for this particular job, there wouldn't be a permit needed.
So the only violation he had was the no proof of insurance?
Once he applied on Thursday of last week.
And really not an issue before us today, but is he licensed with the city and county, whoever needs to be licensed with as well?
That I'm not aware of.
Because I want to make sure you're aware there are also licensing requirements with the city and county for doing business in the city and county as well, separate from this.
Okay.
Occupational license.
Moving forward, I plan to check and double check and make sure I have all of that.
So what happened? Why was this a problem in the first place? I mean, why was the expiration date on the insurance the next day? Is there a reason for it, or?
I don't know. Like I said, I've had insurance ever since I've been in business. I've always had commercial insurance.
So when you found this out, I would assume that you called them. What was the explanation on it? Or were you not paid up, or what was the deal?
I'm not completely sure, honestly.
So you did nothing and now you have insurance?
Yes, I've got insurance. I've had insurance this whole time. Ever since I've been in business, I've never went without insurance.
But not, he doesn't have a contractor's license, correct?
Correct. At this time, his license is under pending, as we don't have all the requirements to fill that license.
What else do you need to fill the license?
The insurance.
Okay, and I just showed you that, so I just need to forward that email to you?
We would need a copy of the certificate. So that would be a deck page, it looks like.
Okay.
We would actually need the certificate, and then to get this settled in whichever way they decide tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Motion, gentlemen?
I guess I have a question. What typically happens with this? Is he given any type of warning, or is it just right off the bat you get a ticket? This isn't something that we've dealt with that often, so.
So what usually happens is our inspector in the field gives a notice of violation. Notice of violation is usually in 24 hours to 1 week, depending on if he thinks it's a short job. If they're going to be done tomorrow, then we ask that they at least start the application process right then, because these guys will get in and get out before we can, get them licensed properly here. So what we ask that they do is just start the application process within the 24 hours. He did nothing until after he got the citation notice. So we mailed the citation, and then he acted. We had a whole 30-day period in there where nothing was done. So we caught him working. 30 days later, he got the citation, so he made application at that point, But once you make application, he didn't have all the steps, and then he gave us that insurance that was expired the next day, and so here we are. But we are just asking that you hold up the citation fine, because there's no other real way to get attention, to get a contractor's attention. If you catch them working, there's no incentive, there's nothing backing it up unless we ask for a citation fine to be upheld. And then he's got the stuff, it looks like, to become properly licensed, and that's what we want. We want him licensed, but we want to set a precedent that you can't just come in and do nothing when you get these violations on site.
Thank you.
So during those 30 days, I assume you were still working?
Not in the city of Bowling Green, no. And like I said, I wasn't even present when the field, what'd you call him, the field officer, field inspector? I wasn't present when he stopped by. He left some information with one of my employees, and we just put it in a folder that we keep all of our receipts in to keep up with taxes. And I wasn't aware that there's a expiration date. Like, I wasn't aware of the urgency to get that done. I just kind of pushed it to the back of the desk and didn't think much more about it. I mean, I was planning on taking care of it, but it's just a busy season for us. And like I said, I ain't been in business long, but this ain't how I want to do business. I plan to do stuff the right way, and I apologize that we're having this issue. This ain't how I want to run my business.
I'll make a motion to uphold the citation and fine in the amount of $500.
I'll second.
Lapointe, Harmon, roll call.
Holman,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
No.
Harmon,
Yes.
Lapointe.
Yes.
Okay, so you are obligated to the fine and work with the clerk on that.
Downstairs?
Here.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Case number 2 is a planning and zoning case. This is a request for an authorization for a per-day fine. Case number 2022-8119. Property location at 1046 Lovers Lane. Property owner is Cross Ridge Bowling Green Limited, Joseph Campbell. Officer James Hetty will present the case.
All right, good afternoon. This case started, looks like August the 23rd of 2022, and I had a complaint reference to additional wall signs on Lovers Lane. It's an overlay property. Let's see. Yeah, the complaint is the unapproved wall signs. It's got to be approved by the Urban Growth Design Review Board and also a Bowling Green City Permit section for the signs. As you can see on the PowerPoint, there's a quite large sign there that's unpermitted. When I inspected, I did find that there was the unpermitted sign, so I sent a notice of violation back September 1st of 2022, and you'll see how that progressed. There's the first citation was in November 30th, 2022. Second citation was January 25th of 2023. The third citation came in July. However, we've been different communications with the renters and also the owner, Troy Campbell, that's watching over the property for his parents. The third citation was July the 28th of 2023. And there's been due dates coming up for an application to be turned in to get in front of that Urban Growth Development Review Board, and the dates would come and go. And so this per day fine request, hopefully we'll get them towards compliance. I did find out that last Thursday, on the 21st, one of the staff there had said that the application has been submitted for the next overlay development review board, or urban growth development design review board, and that'll be in October the 18th. However, you know, just with the application to try to get them to make that October date, hopefully they'll get some of this resolved. But I'd like to have the request for a per day fine in order that they do not come to the meeting and get the board approval and the sign approved through the city, that we can progress to the per day fine.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board?
Is this not something that they would just take down and put up after they get it approved, or what's the process to this? Or do they not have to?
Yeah, there was different options. They could have removed the unpermitted signs, wall signs, but if they want to keep them, then that's where the Urban Growth Development Review Board can approve the different signs, and then they can get approval through the Bowling Green permit section.
So they'll have to, if we do implement this, they will have to remove it until they get it, I mean, unless they want to get $100 a day fine, correct?
I was under the stipulation that the request would authorize me to start the per day. We've already been through the first, second, third fines, and not have the movement towards the compliance and the resolution. So if they decide not to go to the board and get approval or so and just keep the signs up, this is the next step that I have in my process.
As long as they go through that process, they won't get the per day fine, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess maybe ask for clarification or question, whatever you want to call it, make sure I understand, everybody else understands. The overlay development, urban growth design board, overlay development plan for this area, that's something that the individual property owners in that area agreed to. That's not something subject to everybody. That's something that the property owners requested and agreed to.
Certain areas, that overlay is the Lover's Lane area. Rachel Hertz, one of our planner 3 there at the facility, she probably better answer that.
Yeah, so any property in the overlay district, it's not that that particular owner necessarily agreed to those restrictions, but essentially when the property was purchased by that individual or that entity, they were assuming the responsibility of following those restrictions, because in the zoning ordinance, they are specific to this Lover's Lane area and corridor.
The initial property owners all agreed to it when it was created and developed.
Yeah, when it was created back in the early 2000s, before it was adopted, there was quite a bit of public input, and the owners at that time, from what I understand, did support that. And then once it was adopted and enacted, moving forward, any development, signage, new construction, anything like that is subject to review of those standards. And in this area, it just so happens that the signage restrictions are more restrictive than what you'd find in other areas of town. Mm-hmm.
So throughout the process, they've paid some fines, but the signs have been untouched, correct?
That's correct.
I'll make a motion to implement a per day fine in the amount of $100 to run for period of 60 days or until compliant.
And I'll second that as well.
LaPointe, Harmon, roll call.
Holman,
Yes?
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Hetty.
Thank you.
Case number 3 is a planning and zoning case. It is also a per day fine request for authorization. Case number 2023-0662. Property location is 1416 Eastland Street. Property owner is Jeffrey Halsell. Officer James Hetty will present the case.
Yes, on 1416 Eastland, had a complaint, looks like it started November 16th of 2022. A number of different complaints there in the neighborhood over the span. The complaint was reference to the carport in the front of the house. Unpermitted, they didn't go through the permit process. I created a notice of violation, looks like on November the 29th, 2022. And the first citation was February the 22nd of 2023. The second citation was March the 16th of 2023, and the individual, the owner, did come in and speak to the staff reference to one of our plan reviewers, and discussion about removing, but also letting them know that there's a 60-foot easement that they can't have any accessory structures, not just per the code, the zoning ordinance, that it can't be in front of the primary structure, but also there's an easement through there that they can't have anything through there. But that was in March. The second citation was in March 16th. In July 14th, 2023, this third citation went out, but also had another complaint reference to they moved another accessory structure in the backyard. If you can tell on that photo, there's in the corner, there's a shed that's moved back. That one did not have a permit either, so I started another notice of violation reference to that second accessory structure. And therefore, you'll see the NOV 23-050-PC. Now, there's been some movement on this. Some of the neighbors had called, but also talked to the staff. Over the weekend, actually the 25th, went out and re-inspected. The carport has been removed and put in the backyard. So it's no longer in the front of the residence. However, they still didn't apply or get a Bowling Green permit for the carport in the backyard along with the accessory structure. So they're still out of compliance on that part, but they're in compliance with it's removed from the front of the house. As you see, it's 315 days, looking at today, so it's almost been a year, reference to trying to get compliance.
In regards to the shed, I was under the impression that you didn't have to have a permit if it was a already built structure. Is that not true? So if they just have the structure built, or if it is delivered, rather, instead of built on site, do you need a permit for that?
Well, I could see, I didn't see where they applied for any permits in our system.
But I'm saying they wouldn't need a permit if it was just dropped off, would they?
Depends on the square footage.
There's a square,
Okay.
square footage, but that,
Without entering the property and trespassing in their backyard, it's hard to tell whether or not it meets that threshold. So the onus is really on them to have applied for the permit.
So regardless, though, they would need a permit to move the carport to the backyard. So
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
I think I heard what you just said. Just the appearance of that looks like it's not meeting any setbacks, the shed. It looks like it's, I'm not sure where the property line is, but it looks awfully close.
and there is a 5-foot setback, but they'll need a survey to know where the property line is.
And there's 3 of those buildings, this one plus 2 more, did you say?
That's correct, yes.
Plus now the awning out back too, right?
Counting the carport, there's
None
2
of 'em-
sheds in the back and now the carport.
None of them permits?
None of them
were-
have permits, no, sir.
Okay.
Where is the carport in the backyard? Just in the middle of the yard? Or where is it now?
It is, it's in between the 2 sheds that are in the backyard.
Or the back of the property?
It sounds like you had numerous citizen complaints, is that right?
I did, yes, sir.
Any other questions, guys? Do you have a motion?
I'll go ahead. I'll make the motion to implement a per day fine, in the amount of $100 to run for a period of 60 days or until in compliance.
Second. Harmon, Holman, roll call, please.
Holman,
Yes?
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
LaPointe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Case number 4 is a planning and zoning case, case number 20223709. This is a request for an authorization for a per-day fine. The property location is 1432 Campbell Lane. Property owner BSSCC Properties LLC, Scott Williams. Officer James Hetty will present the case.
Mr. Chairman, Scott Williams, who's the owner of this, has been a client of mine in other matters. I do not represent him in this. I did have some communication with Mr. Hetty to facilitate this at one time, but I wanted y'all to know that. I did talk to Hillary, our city attorney, about this when I discovered it was on the docket. Told her I would make this announcement. She saw no problem with me continuing, but I want everybody to know that I do know Mr. Williams. I represent him in an entirely different matter and have not charged him or consulted with him in any manner other than to try to get him with Mr. Hetty.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I'm all for going for compliance, so that whichever way we can get it worked out. I had a complaint, looks like February the 9th, 2022. Says it's the 3rd complaint, but on this one, this is the one that starts this. The other 2 complaints were referenced to cars parking in different years, and it may have been prior to the owner here for this one. But on February of 9th of 2022, I had a complaint reference to cars parked in the grass right away. And the 4th complaint, complaint of trees cut, mud, gravel at 1432 Campbell Lane car lot. When I went out, I did look. They had a gravel parking lot right beside the car dealer with dealership cars on it. Sent a notice of violation March the 4th. Of last year, 2022. First citation started in May 27th, 2022, and there was different communications with some other city personnel that Nick Law and Matt Powell, some of the other city officials that look at the site work permits and go over that for stormwater and different things. So there was things that they were looking at also with all this gravel that's been placed there. But first citation was in May of 27th, 2022. Second citation was April the 20th of 2023. And so that's almost a whole year. And if you read into some of the case summary, it was trying to work out where asphalt would, certain permit applications would be submitted, reference to the site work permits. So between May and April, there wasn't any movement towards compliance. And so therefore, the second citation, between April and July, there wasn't any movement towards compliance. So July 18th, 2023, the third citation was submitted. And now we're in September 2026. It's still, I haven't seen any movement, no site work permits that I can see has come into the system, and so it's still out of compliance.
Thank you. Any questions, comments?
Now, just confirm, what exactly are they out of compliance with now? They still have the gravel parking?
Yeah, it's, there's still automobiles on that, but there's certain restrictions or requirements for car dealers. Not just have the paved area, but also there's a lighting requirement, there's a landscape screening requirements, there's a residential back behind there, as long as also right-of-way frontage. There's different requirements that they're required for that car dealership to have that, operate that lot right there.
It's basically they're not in compliance with the development plan for that particular lot. Is that?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. We have a respondent in this matter. Would you approach the podium, please, and tell us your name?
Scott Williams, owner of the car lot.
Okay, let us swear you in, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Go ahead.
The properties behind there are actually highway business also. When they built that, it was zoned that way. They went ahead and built fourplexes, but all that's highway business behind it. And there is a fence. I got a citation for that, which really is here nor there at this point, but there's a fence all the way back there that's been there ever since it's been a car lot, and it's stretched all the way across the back, even where the gravel lot is and where the regular lot is. But the reason we're having this issue, paving has hit an all-time high. If I could put this into evidence so you guys could see it. Is there a way to do it where you could see this? Basically, I'll show you. Here's the quote I got. It's my fault because I'm busy, something wrong, but the most recent quote is $35,000. September of 22, the oil index was the highest it's ever been. Oh, you may get on the mic. Sorry. In 22, last year, the oil index hit the highest it's ever hit ever since paving has ever been state indexed, $768. So what I talked to him about, to have him talk to Mr. Heady about, we're waiting for them to drop that. It dropped this year to $626. Last year, the bid to pave was $46,000. This year, the bid at the same exact job was $35,000. So that's what I told him last year. Look, we want to get it done just as bad as you guys. We want to see it go away, but we can't overpay the highest price that it's been in forever, you know. So that's what we're trying to. I know you're wanting to fine $100 a day. What I'd like to do, if y'all are okay, if you can give, I'm okay with this bid. We'll get this done with Scotty's. They say 8 to 10 weeks. If you give me 4 months just to make sure that there's something that doesn't happen, barring any unforeseen crazy thing, then it should be done within 10 weeks. But give me 4 months. You can add up the $100 a day, and then if I get this done, just delete the fees out, delete the fines. If y'all are okay with that, that'd be the way to settle it. But the back, I was wondering about that when I got the first one with that fence, because it's already got a fence back there, and that's, the whole place has been a car lot the entire time. So I was interested about that when I saw that, but, and it's highway business back there also. Everything behind me is highway business, not residential. But trust me, I want it paved also. I've gotten the citations and they've said you can't have cars parked in the gravel. So as you can see, if I thought I was just gonna park cars on them, they'd be full of cars because we're squeezed in on the other side trying to keep them off there. That truck that's in that picture right there was doing landscaping work literally that day that picture, I can't tell what truck that is, but that looks like one of the old ones we had. We did some landscaping. I don't know, that could be somebody else's truck. I can't tell. But that's why that's in that picture. But we've tried to keep them off that lot as much as we could. The reason we got the gravel done, we were going to get it paved until we saw it happened right at Corona, right after Corona happened. all the prices went up right after then, and that's why it's been a year and a half, 2 years, waiting for it to drop.
This quote is September of this year. Did you get any
That's today.
quote?
We just got it today. See, Scotty's has been working with me, and they've been saying, look, I said, that's way too high. Can y'all come down on your price? That was the first bid I got for $46,000. They said, look, our index is up so high. We can't do anything with that. If the state index is that's how we figure our pricing. So that's why I tried to wait them out, and it's worked pretty good. Over a year, we've saved $11,000, so that's pretty substantial. I've been meaning to call them, I just haven't. They said it was going to drop sometime in July to August. They re-index it every 6 months or something. And so he said, call me, and that time I didn't call until Mr. Broderick gave me a call and said, hey, you have a meeting. You need to get your butt in gear and get somebody working on that. And that's when I called him, and he got me this quote together, and it went down $11,000 over a year. So it's a pretty big difference for a small business,
But you realize you're out of compliance.
Yeah, for the paving. I want the paving done too. I mean, it's going to help my business. I'm not wanting to not pave it, but I can't overpay or the highest price that paving has ever been. I'm not Menards or Walmart or anybody else. I just can't overpay for stuff, and that's how you go out of business, you be out of business.
Mr. Hetty,
Yes, sir.
but that's not his only violation, correct? I mean, the paving,
That's one of them, but he'll need a landscape plan and a lighting plan, different requirements for that car lot. So the asphalt is one leg of it, or one part of it, but landscaping and the lighting would be the other.
I've talked to some planning, how do you call it? The engineers that do that stuff. And they're so busy, backed up with big stuff. Number one, they don't want this little tiny job of putting out all we need is 3 landscaping, or 3 lights, 3 light poles, because it would just match the other side of the car lot. Basically, this car lot, we're going to match exactly what's on that side on this side. So it doesn't take a huge plan. It's just you follow what they did in 2009 when they built it and do the opposite side. So we're going to put 2 lights on that side directly across from where the lights that are currently there, over there. But everybody's saying 6 months to get a plan, a landscaping, lighting plan, and it's 13,000 square foot. I can't imagine really needing a drainage plan. It's right next to a drainage runner that all the water's going to run straight off into. That's going to extend the timeout for at least 6 months if we have to get those plans, which really and truly I don't believe are needed. If you go look at the lot, it's not going to be a drainage issue lot. I know some are, but this one's not going to be one of those.
So what kept you, you said you waited a year and it saved you $11,000. What kept you from putting up the lights?
We got the conduit ran, but we want to put the pavement there, then we'll have a curb, and then there'll be a light post built when they put the curbs in to hold it's a street light, so it's got to have a concrete pad or slab poured underneath it to put up there.
So everything is held up by the asphalt, is what you're saying?
Yes.
How long have you owned this business?
We bought that place in 21, I think,
Was
November of 21 is when I bought it.
Was the gravel there before?
No, as soon as I bought it, we wanted to pave to get the extended spot, and then we got the gravel poured out, ready to go, and then we started getting bids, and then we got the shock, We got a bid before we bought it, and it was like $19,500. So, I mean, it doubled, and now it's coming back down, but it's just.
So what kept you from doing that?
Doing what?
Doing it when you put the gravel down?
I didn't own the property when we got the $19,500 bid.
Okay.
That was before
I
we
got
bought the property. After we bought the property, it was in the middle of COVID, and that's when it happened. That's when the boom, like you've heard, everything went up and doubled after COVID. That's what it was.
May I add just a few things from our staff? While I realize you may not think that some of these things are necessary, they are requirements. It is required that you apply for and receive approval of a site work permit. Drainage must be addressed. Landscaping also needs to be addressed. The lighting plan has to be submitted for our staff to review to make sure it complies with our minimum and maximum foot candle levels at the property line. In reference to the properties behind, they are zoned highway business, but that does not impact the current use of the properties, which is residential, and our screening requirements are not particular to the zoning. It is based on the adjacent use. So I understand there is a fence there. That is one appropriate landscape material as far as the ordinance is concerned, but there are additional requirements for installation of deciduous trees along that same barrier. and there are minimum landscape widths that have to be maintained between commercial and residential property. So there are many different issues at hand here that are out of compliance. I understand that the engineers are backed up. However, this has been ongoing for nearly 600 days. They haven't been backed up for 600 days, so you could have at least got the ball rolling to get your site work permits approved while you were waiting on the cost of asphalt to come down, so that when it did come down, you had approval and could be ready to go at that time.
One question, since 2009 or when this was built, have y'all changed any of the landscaping plans or the lighting plans? Has anything been updated since, in more land, because we're copying exactly what's on the other side, that's a approved landscaping and lighting program. We're gonna do the exact same thing that was done, curbs and all. So is there anything changed since '09?
It's likely that it's changed since then, but regardless of what's there now, any new development has to comply with current requirements.
You don't know for sure if anything has changed since 2009? Like as
Oh,
far as
I'm sure that
8
the
foot,
ordinance has been amended many times since 2009.
but I'm talking about like, there's like a 12-foot section for landscaping on the back of that property. Do you think it's went to 15 foot, or do you think 12 is still the same? Because
No,
that's
the
same as that
minimum
plan
is
we're doing.
10.
Okay, yeah,
When you're
it has
adjacent
like
to an
12.
incompatible use. And as
Yes,
far as
gotcha.
I know, that's been that since '09.
Okay, so we're still, that's the plan we were gonna do anyways. Does it have to be a stamped plan, or if I show the landscaping plan with the measurements on it, would that work?
No, it has to be a site work permit with approved plans per the regulations. There are specific items that have to be included for
Does it
that
have to be
permit.
done by an engineer for the
Yes.
landscaping? The landscaping
It
does?
has to be done by a surveyor or a landscape architect.
Okay.
When you put this gravel down, did you get a permit to do that? And he would need one, correct?
Well, you wouldn't be able to get a permit for the gravel because it's not allowed by the ordinance.
Gotcha. So that's a violation.
But one
That was-
option
that would've
in the
been one.
meantime would have been to just remove the gravel and sow it back in grass,
And we wouldn't have had an
and
issue.
there would not be any
If
more
I put
violation.
landscape rock, the brown rock, is that gonna be fine?
You mean within your required landscape buffers?
No, I'm talking about what, the whole gravel thing. For
No,
now, to
that-
stop it till
that's
we get
not
the other
permitted.
stuff done, then we could do the, I mean, it'd be like having a large landscape yard. What's the difference?
That's
than
not
grass?
permitted by the ordinance.
Landscaping's not?
Not for
Not
the
to park
purposes,
on, not to
not for the
park on, but
purposes
just-
of displaying vehicles.
But not to park, no, not to park a car on, just for now, so y'all say, okay, we're in compliance till he gets all of his stuff done, because if I have to get a plan, it's gonna be 6 months. So if I get brown rock and cover over all of that with a brown landscape rock, put some trees up,
It would probably just be as easy just to remove the rock.
no, it's 4 inches thick, because it's a base for the pavement. So I mean, I would be
So-
cheaper for me and better to do the landscaping.
But you'd
And then when
still
we
be-
get 6 months later, when we get all our stuff set up, ready to go, peel it back off, get the pavement done once the plans are approved. And then, you know, we're in compliance for the 6 months while we're waiting. And the pavement goes down at that same amount of time.
Any other questions or comments for the respondent? Thank you, Mr. Williams. So at this point, we'll entertain a motion from the board.
I make a motion to implement a per day fine, excuse me, I can't talk, any amount of $100 to run for a period of 60 days or until compliance.
Second.
Okay, Harmon, Lapointe, roll call.
Holman,
Yes?
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Lapointe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Case number 5 is for planning and zoning, case number 20234035. This is a request for authorization for a per-day fine for the property address at 1573 Stafford Way. Property owner Hayden Lane Sorrells. Officer James Heddy present the case.
This one started actually this year, January the 10th, 2023, reference to complaint of short-term rental on Airbnb regarding this 1573 Stafford Way. This is a little different from some of the other Airbnb properties that I've had. This one has been in front of the Board of Adjustments and was denied last year, March 2022. And so this property owner has continued to run a short-term Airbnb in this neighborhood, and I've had numerous complaints referenced from the neighbors, but in June 15th of 2023, this year, I sent a notice of violation reference to the short-term rental. It's still on VRBO, so there's numerous reviews that I documented. So in July 18th of 2023, I issued the first citation. Still on, you can still go on and rent for short-term rental. So in August 11th, 2023, I issued the second citation. And then this month, September 13th, 2023, I issued the third citation. This morning, I went on VRBO, and I can book the property from October 5th to October 9th, and it's $1,211 for those 4 days or so. So on this, I'm asking for the per-day fine request reference to this short-term rental operating in this neighborhood unlawfully.
Has the property owner ever responded to you at all?
No, sir.
I'll make a motion to implement a per-day fine in the amount of $100 to run for a period of 60 days.
I'll
Second.
second.
Lapointe, Harmon, roll call, please.
Holman,
Yes?
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Lapointe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we adjourn the meeting, are there any comments? We appreciate, yes, sir.
I do want to tell you a couple things. I've sent you out emails on it, but just to officially announce, the Scorpion case finally is ended. It may be the longest appeal process we've gone through. And I will tell you, I make it a point to drive by Nashville Road to see if they're in compliance, and it looks like they are. Brad, is that right?
I don't believe we have an open case on that one or the one on Regents, to my knowledge, so.
Secret's appeals are now over, and I got a picture from James. Did I get it from you? Okay. He has removed the gravel from his area, and sowed with grass. So I always want to let you know that we finally get it. Sometimes it takes a while to get people in compliance, but we've gotten that done.
Thank you, and thank you for your input today. And Ms. Hurt, thank you for introducing yourself to the board. We appreciate your input today, too. The next hearing is set for Tuesday, October 24th. With that, we'll adjourn.
Need to make a motion
Oh.
to adjourn?
I'm so sorry. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Lapointe, Harmon. Roll call.
Holman,
Yes?
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harmon.
Yes.
Lapointe.
Yes.